Cage, cause he innocent. Martin Roger Stone is the run, know that he innocent. We need to kick out every single illegal immigrant. Mandatory voter ID laws we need to implement. Tell Justice Smollett that I know this MAGA country. Tell China we know they.
Hello, everybody. We are live. Just to let you know, this show is going to be a little bit different. And I posted on the top, if you have any questions, write them in the live chat. I will star them. And then towards the end of the interview, we will go over the questions. All right, guys? And now I'm going to bring up dtweiss. Hello.
Hello. What's going on?
Thank you for coming. I am so excited. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm super nervous.
What are you nervous about? What are you nervous about?
I don't know if you know much about the Jehovah's Witness or EXJW community, but we were raised to kind of never think about these kind of theories, like to reject it. As soon as you hear something that goes against the Bible or against what the Watchtower tells us, we're supposed to reject it immediately. So it's kind of really like...
Doesn't the Bible, it's the same Bible, the Christian Bible, right? Is it, or is it a different Bible? All right, and the Christian, it's all about flat Earth. What in there is not about flat Earth?
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you, because I saw your documentary, and that's what piqued my interest. But you didn't really touch on the Christian side of it, because people were telling me, oh, there's lots of scriptures that talk about this, and I have since, like, I kind of dived into the Bible a little bit. But I wanted to get you, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. Your perspective on what the Bible says about flat Earth theory.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm not the expert on the Christian side, but there's like 200 verses, starting from page 1. God separated the waters from the waters and created the firmament. And the earth is stationary; it shall not be moved. The sky, he scrolled back the sky and let the waters in. And there's so many verses that are flat Earth. And the anti flat Earth people will come up and say, well, what about Isaiah? The circle of the earth. Look up the definition of a circle. A circle, here's the definition, is a line on a plane, which is a flat surface, where all the points on the line are equidistant from a center point. That's a circle. That's a perfect circle. It's not a sphere. So there's nowhere in the Bible where they talk about the earth moving, rotating, curving, or being spherical. It's all about a stationary level flat earth plane. On my app, there's a biblical section. We have all sorts of stuff on here. There's a great series, this one right here, Biblical Cosmology Remastered. It's phenomenal. It's a whole course. It'll blow your mind if you watch that. Biblical Flat Earth, just random videos here, and then Truth, the True Flat Earth, and the Bible. This is a live streaming 24/7 biblical channel. Just sit down there and start watching that stuff, and it'll blow your mind.
Awesome. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna have to look into that. So I just wanted to ask you, like, what is your background? Like, do you have like a religious background? Was this like before you believed in it or after you believed in it? Like, did you have a moment where that kind of rocked your world for a minute when you found out, like, oh, I think the earth is flat? Like, how did that go for you?
Yeah, I'm coming from a completely opposite world where you came from. So I was brought up, I wasn't really brought up in any religion, and I checked out lots of religions, lots of religions, and I didn't buy any of them. I just that's not for me. And I was pretty much an atheist. I didn't believe in anything. I believed in the Big Bang and evolution. And then when I discovered that the earth is flat, I didn't discover the earth was flat as a religious thing. God, well, I don't want to say God didn't bring me there, because God's in charge of everything. But I came there from a scientific point of view. And then scientifically, actual science applies to everybody, religious people and non-religious people, actual science. The Bible, religion, only applies to the people that believe in it. Right? So if you came to me with Bible verses, I would just discount you as a crazy lunatic back then, right? Or Quran verses or whatever. It doesn't matter. So once you discover scientifically, measurably, demonstrably that the Earth is a level, non-rotating, motionless plane, then you understand that it is an intelligently created world and there has to be a creator. So the entire thing, the lie, the globe lie, is to hide God. Now, who's God? Where's God? Who's in, what's your connection to God? The controllers of this world want you in one of two places. Either a religion, they don't care which one it is, Buddhism, Hinduism, Catholic, whatever. They want you there, or they want you in the scientism, right? They want you believing in the heliocentric universe, which is more of a religion than all of the other religions, than all of them. It's all just a lie to separate you from God. This is all about separating us from God. We are God's children. God is in us. But
so do you believe in God now?
Yes.
Or like what's your background now?
So my background is here. I'm just about to tell you. So in I think it's the 1750 Bible or somewhere in the 1700s, the Bible, I forget the exact date. They took out all of the important stuff that would give people the power to connect directly with God. The truth is, God is within all of us. But the churches, all of the organized religions want to separate God. They want to take God away and say, "Hey, we're the middleman. We're your path to God, and you must do this." And that's how they control you, right? But when you realize that they're not the middleman, they're not above you, they're not between you and God. The only thing above you is God. Everything else is below you. Okay? Everything else.
I believe that.
So organized religion is literally just a way to control the masses. And I'm not saying that there's lots of truth in the Bible. There's lots of truth in the Quran. There's lots of truth in lots of these religious books. But they've all of them have been perverted by man. And they've been manipulated and hidden. And, just look at the Vatican catacombs, the library in the Vatican. Nobody knows what's down there. And if you want to get something, you have to tell them exactly what you want to see. Well, how do you know what you want to see if you don't know what's down there? Right? So you can't freely explore down there. There's 3 places on Earth you can't explore: the North Pole, the South Pole, and the Vatican book library.
That's a good point. I saw your documentary when the guys were on the boat.
Which documentary are you talking about? Which one?
Oh,
the level with me. Level with me. It was one of the level series.
The next level, the truth cannot be stopped. 2022.
There's a series. Yeah, level, the next level, and level with me. That's a great trilogy.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch the rest. So I saw that one, and there was a bunch of guys on a boat, and they were trying to go the furthest that they can go, and they were stopped. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's so true that they don't even let you go past a certain point.
Well, that's a good example, but it's actually not 100% accurate. They weren't even that close to Antarctica, but they were going in restricted waters. But there's many other stories of people that were trying to go to Antarctica, people that got permission from their countries to go to Antarctica. And then they get there, and then they were stopped, and their boats were seized, and they were arrested and put in jail and sent back home, and all sorts of stuff. But you cannot freely explore Antarctica. You can't. People say, thousands of people go there every year. No, a few people get to go, and maybe it's hundreds. I don't know. Maybe it's thousands, but I don't think it's that many. And it costs you like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for a couple of days, and they don't let you freely explore. Like if I invited you to my house and you suspected that my house was filled with gold, right? But it's all on the 3rd floor. I only let you go on the 1st floor. Okay. What good is that going to do? What good is it going to do? Right? What good is it going to do? So it's about the free, uninhibited exploration of the areas of our world that would prove everything. It would disprove the globe, prove the flat Earth, would prove the Creator, and they don't want us in a world where we absolutely 100% know there's a Creator. Because in the heliocentric world, you could say there is a God. He created the Big Bang and 100 quadrillion, 6 trillion other planets also, because he's just so awesome, right? And we're just one of those random specks. Well, that dilutes God's creation. That dilutes your importance, right?
Right. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Totally agree with you. But
So,
like you said before, you were an
God.
atheist. Right. So you said before, like you were an atheist coming into this. That was like your background at first.
Yeah.
And now I'm hearing a lot of you don't sound like an atheist now. So how do you feel about that now? Like when you talk about creation, does it change the creation like narrative for you?
Certainly does. I mean, there are no flat earthers that don't believe in a creator. There are none. And flat earthers are also wide awake and aware and can't be fooled on most things. You know, it depends on how much you really spend time exercising your free will and your brain. You know, free will takes work. Okay, free will. You can don't just lay on the couch and say, "Okay, I've got free will." You got to actually work. You got to work your brain. But people are lazy. You know, the default position is lazy. Right? People just want to believe. People just want to believe. So for you, you were put into this religion, and you were told, and all you have to do is believe, and then there's really nothing else to do, right? But you guys seem to have broken free, because you've used your brain. You started thinking, and you realize that you're in a religion. I'm not religious. A religion that takes faith, right? This is looking at reality, understanding what this place is, thinking, using your common sense. Nowhere in the world do things, shatter a glass on the floor. I don't care how many times you throw it down on the floor. It's not going to put itself back together. Things don't get more organized. Lightning doesn't strike and create an amoeba, and then we have a human eyeball that can see distance and color and interpret and everything. All of this is incredible creation. It's incredible. And it's beyond anyone's understanding. So to deny creation is literally, it's got to be the dumbest thing ever.
No, yeah, I agree with you. And that's the thing. It's like now I'm allowing myself to actually think about these things, to talk to people who actually believe in it. And I entertain those theories on my channel now, but I still have that fear for some reason. Like I was so afraid to entertain this, but you were like the perfect person that I thought of to book. When I saw your website, I said, oh my God, this guy can be booked. So I'm glad that we're able to review this, because a lot of people in my community would say the same thing, like, oh, that's fake, or don't believe in that. But I'm just at least having an open mind enough to just listen to what the guy has to say. You know what I mean? So there was a moment in the documentary again that you guys talk about the Antarctica Treaty, and that was a moment for like flat earthers that either they don't allow you to explore, or they don't allow, like I remember a lot of people saying in the documentary that we want to prove this theory, we want to to do that, but we're just not allowed to do that. And it kind of goes behind the scenes of like that government, that shadow government that controls everything that we're supposed to believe in. So I wanted to ask you about that. Yeah, if you can explain a little bit about that.
So they came up with the Antarctic Treaty in around 1949, 50, somewhere around there. And all of a sudden, all of the countries in the world agree nobody can explore Antarctica, right? You know why? Because of the ice. We have to protect the ice, and we can't fly a plane over it at 40,000 feet because we might disturb the penguins. What? The penguins' path, right? So before conservation was even a word, we're worried about the penguins' migratory paths and flying a plane over Antarctica because it's the only place that there's pristine ice. Are you kidding me? I mean, and it's still in place today. All of these countries all agree. They all agree on no one can go to Antarctica, and everyone's got to get the thing stuck in their arm, because, they all agree on those things. These are all systems of control. So all of the countries that are warring against each other do that. And then we have all of these bases all the way around. These are all military bases controlled by the crown, UN bases. And anybody that tries to go out here will be stopped. Jet fighter, by ship. There's radar buoys out there. These are vast distances between each other, but they can patrol. They've got ships out here, and they will not let anybody go to Antarctica. But
why? Yeah, like that's weird.
Well, I mean, I gave you the reason, but the real reason is because if you go out there, you're going to find out the truth of this world. You know, I think that there's many things in Antarctica. Maybe fallen angels are being kept there. Who knows? I don't know, because our world leaders all go to Antarctica at the weirdest times. They go to a base like right here or whatever, and then all of a sudden they disappear for 3 days. Then they come back, and then they go home, and they never say what they did. What are they doing there? I think the real rulers of the world are in the outer lands of Antarctica. You know, maybe Antarctica is just one big mass, right? Like this. Maybe Antarctica is just all this, right? Which is bigger than all of the other land, just this area here, than all of the other land combined. What's going on out there, right? Or maybe Antarctica is a series of islands in the outer lands right here. This is a map that was found in a Buddhist temple. So there's like 30 some odd continents out here. So maybe, you know, there's a whole other civilization here. Maybe when they take you to Antarctica from Santiago, they take you here and they say, oh, you're on Antarctica. Well, how would you know? This is bigger than all of South America and America combined, right? So if you landed here, they could just say, you're on Antarctica, on the bottom of the ball, but you would never know it.
Wow. Yeah, that's that map. Actually, I was going to ask you. I think I saw it on Twitter that they have that map in the United Nations on the wall.
That's a fake picture. That's a fake picture from the United Nations. That's not. Somebody made it, said it's from the United Nations, and everybody tweeted it, and it's not true.
Okay.
It's not true. But you know, if you look at the United Nations, the United Nations logo, you know, the United Nations logo is the flat Earth map, right? So is the International Maritime Organization and the Civil Aviation Organization and the World Meteorological Organization. They all have the flat Earth map. The four agencies that kind of run the world, they're all using a map. Now the globers will go, "Oh, it's just a projection of the globe." Well, cool story, bro.
Yeah. Wow. Another thing I wanted to ask you is that you were visiting like this old elderly woman in this nursing home, and they were confirming to her that what she grew up with, like in the 20s, they were teaching flat Earth, and somewhere along the lines of history, or like the education system kind of changed the teaching from flat Earth to now a round ball, and you guys talk about that in the documentary.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It was Ruth right here. And I was actually, she was 102, and I was interviewing her about the world's fairs. And she was so knowledgeable. And she was talking about, you know, just she'd never seen the world lit up like that, and all sorts of stuff. And then I just asked her randomly, I said, what did they teach you about the Earth? I never mentioned flat Earth. And she goes, you know, in school, and she's in elementary school, they taught her the Earth was flat, but then some years later, they changed it. And then she just believed them, because we're kids. We believe our teachers. You know, our teachers. How do you become a teacher, Ruby? How do you become a teacher?
You got to go to college.
Well, you got to go to college. But what do you got to do in college to become a teacher? Do you have to learn anything, or do you have to memorize stuff?
That's a good point. Okay, I do agree with you on that. We have to memorize what those textbooks tell us.
So who wrote the textbooks?
Yeah, I don't know.
They're teaching us what they want us to know. They're making us memorize their nonsense. I can write the book of BS. You can study it. I can give you a degree in BS, and then you can go teach that. And if someone questions you, you point to your degree on the wall and say, I've got a degree. Where's your degree?
Right.
You listen to me. Okay, that's all it is. That's all it is. And the same thing in religions and everything. But here's the thing: you're in a religion, you're living your life, and you pray according to the religion, and your prayers are answered. Is that because you're in religion, or is that because you prayed? Is that because you actually did something good, something right, but you're funneling it through a middleman? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you go, oh my God, that's it. You know, I prayed in this specific way and it worked. Therefore, that's right. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. There's things that you can do that will get the same result, but that doesn't mean that's what caused the result in that exact way.
Okay. Okay. I wanted to ask you, so you believe that it's flat, but you don't believe, or I don't know. I mean, let me ask you just straight out. Do you believe that it's kind of like a dome, or do you believe that there is some curvature, but just not the entire thing is round? Or is there levels to this, or is it just completely flat that you can like fall off of the edge? Like how would you describe that?
So where are you? What state are you in? Are you in the United States?
Yes, I'm in Florida.
You're in Florida. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
Florida's pretty flat.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you go to Kansas and there's a lake that's 100 miles across. You ever see a lake 100 miles across? It's like an ocean. It's big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So pretending there's a lake in Kansas, nice flat Kansas, 100 miles across. Now, when you go away from the shoreline, you ever go on the water? You go on the water much?
Mm-hmm.
When you're 10 miles from the shore, it's really hard to see the shore because everything just gets so small. So when you're 25 miles, which is halfway to the center of the lake, you can't see the shoreline of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
So let's pretend this is a lake in Kansas that's 100 miles across.
Mm-hmm.
So you go out in the middle of the lake, you can't see the shoreline, right? So at the center of the lake, there's an island, and it's got a big mountain on it, and it's a magnetic mountain. So your compass will always point to the center of the lake. Stick with me. So the compass will point to the center of the lake. So if you try to go west, you have to keep on turning because your needle will always point to the center. So west will take you around the lake this way. East will take you around equidistant from the center this way, right back to where you started from. East and west circumnavigation works on a lake, doesn't make the lake a sphere. East and west circumnavigation work on a ball, doesn't make a ball flat, right? East and west circumnavigation work on a flat earth. So it's not exclusive. However, south would be every direction away from the center. So if you and I were standing at the center of a flat earth with our backs to the center, facing in opposite directions, we both started walking, we'd both be walking south, but in opposite directions. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
I think I do. I think I do.
Well, I mean, the south is the opposite of north, right?
Right, right.
So here's a magnet. Here's a magnet right here, and the compass is pointing towards the center. So as I try to push it west, I have to keep turning to maintain that western heading. So on this scale, it's so big, I feel like I'm going straight, and I circumnavigate. I come right back to where I was. I do the same thing. I go in the other direction, east, 90 degrees east, right? But the thing is, if I try to dead reckon, so here I am, and I'm pointing, that stick is pointing west. As soon as I go, if I don't start turning to the right, I'm heading south. South is that way. South is that way. South is this way. So getting to your question, if I get to the edge of the lake, what happens? Do I fall off the lake? Can you fall off a lake?
No.
What happens when you get to the edge? You climb up onto the land. Right? Nobody has ever gone south and popped up on the other side. No one's gone from Santiago to Australia. No one's ever done it. On a globe, it should be done all the time. It should be done all the time. But no one's ever done it. So when you get to the edge of the lake, you step up onto the land. Water needs containment. You agree with that, right? You can't take a bath without the side of the bathtub, right?
Right.
A lake can't contain water without the side of the lake being higher than the water. What's the highest continent on Earth?
I don't know, actually.
Antarctica.
Antarctica. Oh.
Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Antarctica is the container of our world.
Yes. Okay. That's what I was just about to say.
It's the shoreline of our world. So Antarctica is all of this land outside of here. What's beyond there? We don't know. I think there's more land. I think there's tons of evidence of more land. If you go to the book section on my app and you click the more land section, There's a lot of books on more land, kids books, adult books, but this is a really great one. And this one's actually, you can get the audiobook online, just on YouTube, to search the Iron Republic, and it's the channel's The Morgile. Listen to that. Listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a job or, you're exercising, whatever, listen to that book. You'll be hooked. You'll be hooked. It's amazing. And it talks about more land. Whether it's true or not, it's about a politician in the late 1800s that went to Antarctica, found an opening, and ended up finding more land on the outside, and ended up living there for years and got married, and something happened. His wife died, and he ended up coming back to Florida, as a matter of fact. And he told the story of this advanced civilization that was out there. So he went from here. He was going around Antarctica, found an opening, went through, was lost at sea for a couple months. This is a huge area. And the stars weren't right. Really couldn't figure out where he was. All of a sudden, he found land, saw a city, and then the whole story begins there. And this is, where was he? He was in the outer space with the extra land. Okay?
Yep. Okay. Yep.
So extraterrestrials would come from the outer space right here on Earth. Just thousands of miles away, not incomprehensible Narnia space years,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask as well. Like, how do you view like UFOs, or when those pilots say that they kind of confirm the flat Earth theory? They say, oh yeah, everything's flat, or how they are restricted, even that they can't fly to a certain
I think that there's all of it is human or man-made or being, physical being technology here on Earth. It's not coming anywhere from outer space. Outer space is fake. And a lot of it's right here within our lands. There may be more lands just out here. There's maybe more lands out here. Like most of our ocean is unexplored. The Southern Ocean is bigger than all of the other oceans combined, and it's totally unexplored. So a lot of it might be coming from there, but there also may be, there may be people from other lands out here that are traveling in and out all the time. So that would be a UFO. The secret space program is the secret propulsion program. They're using electrostatic propulsion. We have that triangle aircraft, the XR-3TB, I think it's called, something like that. The patent says that it lifts itself up with electrostatics and propels itself with electrostatics. And is that our technology? I don't think any of the technology we have is ours, right? For thousands of years, we're living in the mud, with the horse and buggies and the dark ages. And just in the last 150 years, all of a sudden we have power tools and computer chips and incredible stuff, right? You and I are talking to each other over the internet. I don't even know where you are. It's like, this stuff doesn't just come out of nowhere. This is old world technology, in my opinion.
Okay. So that comment that you just made when you said that space is fake, like, I say this often when I say, like, I don't believe the moon landing was real. And some people might believe that. I don't know. But I don't believe in it personally. I don't believe that we can land on the moon or that we ever went there. So how do you view that because that's a conspiracy theory. They say, oh, that's a theory. So how do you view that? Because when you said space was fake, I was like, oh, so do you even, like, how do you view the sun and the moon and the stars? Like, how do you view space?
I mean, when you look at the moon landing, to say if you think the moon landing is real, it just means that you haven't looked into it, or you have and you're not very smart. Because most people that think it's real just have never looked into it. It's the fakest thing ever. And there's so many different reasons. I mean, anything that you look at. I'm just trying to find. Okay, here is. So check us out. So I'm going to pause this. where is the sun? To the left or to the right? Look at his shadow. Where's the sun?
Mm-hmm. Behind him, right?
It's over to the left behind him, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So now he's going to go to the right, and the camera's going to turn and follow him, just turning a little bit. We're just moving across, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now look at his shadow. Where's the sun now?
Oh my goodness.
Wait, just go a little bit farther. Just a little bit farther. Where's the sun now? How'd the sun get over there? Sun's on the other
His
side
shadow
now.
was moving.
The sun's on the total opposite side. This is a proof of studio lighting. There's nothing else that you need to prove there, right? But let's look at a section in the middle. See these two lights in his visor, right? So those two lights. Now watch again. You're going to see 4 of them when he turns his head. 1, 2. Let's give it a second. As soon as he turns, you're going to see all 4. Ready? 1, 2, and 3, 4. See him?
Oh wow.
Okay. Is it something like this? Is this what's going on? Right?
Oh my God! Like, oh.
That's impossible on the moon. They didn't bring any of their own lights. The only light there was the sun. How does it? Yeah. So, what's the best proof we didn't go to the moon? All of them. Every observation on the moon is the best proof. But there's one. Why do you need another one?
Right.
That's what I ask people. Why do you need another one? Right? In 1958 or 19, when they did the moon landing, 69, whatever, they launched a rocket with 3 guys on it. It went around the Earth, went to the moon. The rocket separated. 2 of the guys went down to the moon, played golf, drove in a dune buggy. The other guys stayed up in the orbiter, orbiting the moon. And then that rover left the Earth, the module left the moon and somehow reconnected with the orbiter, right? How does that happen, right? So the guy's up there alone, and this is the video footage we're getting. Now watch what happens. He's showing us that he's in zero gravity. They always have to float things around. So he's going to float his papers. Who's panning the camera up? Who panned the camera up? He's alone.
That's a good point.
Who panned the camera up? It's just a trick to dazzle you. Going, oh wow, that's amazing. That's amazing, right?
Wow.
Now watch this. We already looked at that. Here is the LEM on the moon. Have you ever taken a close look at the LEM?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? I mean, it's the dumbest thing ever. Let me just tell you. Here's the launch of the LEM. All right, answer me this. So they're on there. Now watch. Mind you, when this thing takes off, you got the orbiter is orbiting the moon at, I forget how fast it's going. It's going damn fast, right? It's orbiting the moon. It's orbiting the moon. And that thing has got to just go up. The timing has to be perfect, and they have to meet together and not crash into each other, right? There's 2 grown men in here without seats, right? And now watch. It's going to take off, and there's no thrust anymore. Where's it going? And who's panning that camera up? And how did that transmission get back to Earth? They're using film. Who panned up?
Yeah, it's just, I don't believe it. Yeah.
You're not stupid. It's stupid. The whole thing is stupid. But people are like, they just can't imagine that big of a deception, right? Now that thing is going to go, there's men in there. Like, if you ever been on a boat is sitting in the water, just a regular size, regular small boat. And it's sitting in the water. So the water has some resistance on the boat. Not a lot, but resistance. If you move your body, walk across that boat, switch seats, the boat's going to move, right? It's going to move. It's going to change its position in the water, right? Right? So there's no resistance. These guys are moving around. They're bumping into each other, right? How is that thing not just tumbling out of control? What's holding it steady? How is it connecting with the orbiter? What is it pushing off of when it does bursts of gas. There's nothing to push off of. It's in space.
Right.
Nobody thinks about these things.
Right. Yeah. So then how do you view NASA and the Space Force and SpaceX? Like, how do you view those organizations, or like
They're all
that
here
kind of side?
just to deceive us. They're just here to deceive us. It's to make us believe that that we can live on another planet. We can walk on another ball, right? It's all
Oh.
just complete and total nonsense, right? They're pre-programming us. You know, Werner von Braun, who's the Nazi scientist who was involved with NASA, right? You know who he is?
Yeah.
He wrote a book in 1957 called Project Mars about a group of people that went to Mars to populate it there. Do you know what the head guy's name was in the book?
No, I don't.
Elon.
Stop.
And this is Elon's rocket that he's going to send to Mars. And he says he wants to make it pointier. Okay?
What?
I mean, this is just predictive programming. Arthur C. Clarke theorized about satellites. Like a year later, all of a sudden we have satellites. Right? They always tell us. The guy that, some royal guy wrote a theory about dinosaurs. No dinosaur had ever been found in all of history. Egyptians, nobody ever found a dinosaur. In the 1800s, publishes a paper about it a year later to the day. 365 days after he published it, he and his team discovered the first dinosaur.
Hold on. So, are you saying that maybe dinosaurs never existed?
Nope.
Either?
They created dinosaurs to hide giant human bones and to hide the discovery of dragons.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, I knew this stream was gonna go like this. That's why I was super nervous, because I've heard these things, but I've never actually spoke to somebody who actually said, yeah, that dinosaurs are probably fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this is a little scary for me, because my mom used to tell me, like, just go to school and learn. She would say, go to school and learn about the Big Bang Theory, learn about everything that they're telling you, but just remember that none of it is real. Like, she used to tell me those things, and I was just like, okay, I'll try my best.
No dinosaur head has ever been found. Did you know that?
No, like, so okay, so explain that for me, because if you don't believe that they existed, then what are the bones that we see in the museums and things like that?
They're from giants and dragons. I believe there was dragons that were, I don't want to say it, but miles wide. Okay, but there was giants. There was giant humans here. And you can look at the buildings that were built with the door handles 20 feet in the air. And there's all sorts of stuff. And they found all the bones. And every time they find giant bones, the Smithsonian comes in and takes them away. And then they just disappear.
Really?
All the time. The Smithsonian is part of the cover-up. They're here to hide our history.
Okay.
On my website, flatearthdave.com, there's a banner. It says Old World Order. Okay? Watch that video. You'll learn about the old world. You'll learn other places to go look for it. On my app, if you go to the Griffin button, which is the old world button, let me show you that. The Griffin button right here, right there. And you click it. The actually old world waters are also here, but there's a channel called My Lunch Break. Amazing. This is Jake. I'm the Improbable Dreamer. He's on TikTok mostly, and not on TikTok, on Instagram. There's the lost history of flat Earth. Amazing. John Levy. Amazing. There's all sorts of stuff, and there's also you really want to get into it, go check out the Cabbage Patch Baby list. Okay, talk about a rabbit hole. Okay.
Yes. This is already a lot for me.
Yeah, this is a lot for anybody. But here's the thing. You have to take the time and look and think, and don't believe anything I say, right? Again, to prove the earth is flat, you don't need to speculate what's beyond 60 degrees south. You don't need to speculate what the sky is made out of. You just need to measure the earth, and the earth measures flat. For example, I'll just give you a quick example. So you know what the circumference of the Earth is?
No.
All
I
right.
just did the
Well,
test to pass the test. I didn't I didn't memorize
right,
nothing.
right. So it's 24,901 miles around, and there's a curvature rate, right? And when there's curvature, if something's behind physical curvature, you can't see it. Can you see my mouth?
No.
Why?
It's covered by the ball.
It's
Yeah.
the I'm behind the curvature.
Right behind it.
If you zoomed in, could you see my mouth? Nope.
Maybe. I don't think so, no.
No, you couldn't
No.
because it's behind a physical curvature, right?
Yeah.
So here's a lake reservoir, and this guy went out there at night, frozen. He's got his camera 6 inches off the curve, and he put these lights out here. Right, he's got his snowmobile or his truck, whatever, and this light is at 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Now that doesn't seem like a lot because they tell us the Earth is so big that you would have to be much bigger than that. Well, according to their math, the curvature should be 30 feet, 22 feet, and 15 feet, and 9 feet from this camera. So this should be behind 30 feet of curvature, 22 feet, 15 feet, and 9 feet. Now the Globers will say, well, they're just refracting up, right? So this ball is behind the curvature, but its image is refracting up and stopping right there. It's refracting. It's really down here, but its image is warping through space and time, refracting up, which is stupid, right? And so this is refracting up 30, 22, 15, and 9. Or maybe just the Earth is flat and we're looking straight at those lights.
Yeah. Like the simplest answer is probably the answer. Like you don't have to dig deep.
Yeah. And then looking up at the lights in the sky, it's interesting to see the motions. I think the sky is literally God's mind. It's where it's so spiritual up there. It's the heavens above. And the lights in the sky, the stars never move. The wandering stars, which they like to call planets, those move in crazy patterns, right? And they do amazing things. Here's a star. They ever show you that in school?
Not like that, no.
That's a star.
Yes.
What is that? I think it's conscious. I think everything is consciousness.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So the motions of the things in the sky, that tells us stuff. The sky is filled with signs and symbols, and tells it gives we can read the sky, but the motions of those things don't tell us the shape of the Earth. We have theories like, hey, the sun circles around. That's proven. Like on my app, if we go, let me just look right here. So right here, if I called my friend who's in Sydney, Australia, and I said, hey, what time is it? And where is the sun? He would say, well, it's almost 12 o'clock noon, and the sun is just a little bit to my north. It's right there. And if I wait until it's over here and call somebody in Johannesburg, they go, the sun is right above me and it's noon. And then when it comes around, same thing over here. And so we know that the sun circles around. The question is, how do we see the sun? This is a top-down view. And we see the sun inside of our dome. And the optics of the sky are amazing. On my app, on the frequently asked questions page, there's the Antarctica and the 24-hour sun section. And there's tons of videos there that show you possibilities of how the sky works. But we're just trying to figure it out. It's, all the questions you ask are answered basically on this page to help you understand where you live. Here's the thing. What difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. I still have to go to school on Monday, whatever.
Right.
The difference is, if you don't know where you are, if you don't know how important you are, if you don't know what this place is, you'll never live to your absolute true potential.
Oh, yeah. I believe that. I do. But that
Any
kind of
questions?
it changes a lot. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to get to any questions from the chat?
Yes. And then there was a video that I wanted to share with you to get your opinion on it. But
Okay. Go ahead. What
first
is it?
comment
What
is,
go ahead.
oh, which one do you want to do first? You want to do questions or you want to do that clip that I had? It's only
But
4 minutes.
4 minutes. All right, go ahead, play it.
Okay.
Play it. Play it, and then we'll keep an eye on the chat too.
Okay.
Those of you listening, just go to my website, flatearthdave.com. Everything you need is there. Everything you need is there. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
What do we got here? You can play it with sound.
The North Star proves that the Earth is flat and not moving, and I'm going to tell you how it's actually biblical. First, I'm going to show you a clip of the stars all circling around Polaris. Polaris does not move ever. If we're truly spinning at 66,600 miles per hour, while also circling around the sun, while also our entire galaxy is apparently like getting thrown through space at all times, why does Polaris never ever move? Every other star moves except Polaris. Many biblical theories think that Polaris is actually God's throne room, and I'm about to blow your mind. So this is artwork of what we think God's throne room looks like. Pay attention to the green here, and it says in scripture that his throne room was like emerald crystal. Now let's watch a video of Polaris through a telescope. We're nowhere near done yet. There is so much more. When you look up, where does the word Polaris come from? The root word means heavenly. And remember, all throughout history, we had sailors and just people in general following the North Star for guidance. You always know to find the North Star, and it's the brightest star in the sky. So let's go back to the throne room for a second. If the throne room is the North Star, which I personally do believe it is, I want you to notice these colors. And the North Star sits directly over the North Pole. Does anyone remember the natural phenomena that occurs around the North Pole? This blew my mind. Look at the colors of the Northern Lights, the throne room, and then Polaris. They're all the exact same colors. We used to have these Georgia guide stones, and in one of the stones was this little channel, and basically it was directly over the North Star, and you could look through it at any point, and it just was always there because the North Star doesn't move. That's all that this did. In July 2022, someone randomly did this to the Georgia Guidestones. The very following year, our besties started pushing this narrative that the Earth's North Pole is shifting away from the North Star, as NASA was started by Freemasons of the 33rd degree, and currently it's full of those same people. So why would they be studying this? They somehow from Earth can figure out that the North Pole is tipping away from the North Star that's 33 trillion light years away. This is them trying to subconsciously program us to turn away from God, in my opinion. But wait, there's more. Here we have a very old flat Earth map, and this is what they thought the North Pole was. In Genesis, they talk about the Garden of Eden being where there was 4 rivers. Basically, they describe to a T what this mass of like land is, saying that this is Eden. If I am correct, and God's throne room is Polaris, Polaris sits directly above the North Pole, where it very closely matches the description of the Garden of Eden. And it makes perfect sense to me that the Garden of Eden would be directly under his throne room. Here's where it gets even funkier. Right in the middle is this landmass. Does anyone want to take a wild guess at what it's called? Black Rock. Does the name Black Rock sound familiar to anybody? I don't think anybody's ever been to the North Pole. The only thing we know it for is for Santa and his elves living up there. So not only is this a fictional magic character, but does anybody know the dark history of St. Nicholas? How about St. Nicholas and Krampus? Or the fact that they do exactly what the elites do to children? And we know that Freemasons' goal is to distort and do the opposite of everything that God does. So they placed a magical children herder up where I personally believe God is, in the garden of celebrities and elite people like Cat Williams, and I believe Kevin Hart said it at one point, say that the North Pole is like lush greenery and tons of like forests and flowers and things like that. One might say, well, why would they lie? Why would they tell us that there was snow up there if there's not? The entire thing with flat Earth, the reason that they would lie to us is because they're working to cover up the things that obviously make the Bible true. They hide things like this from us and then name massive evil mega corporations after them to laugh in our face and mock us. I don't know if I'm right about everything, but I just like to share my opinion, get your guys' feedback, see if any.
I 100% agree. I totally agree with her. She said the distance, so that she was exaggerating. Didn't know the number for the distance to Polaris, but it is a ridiculous distance. It's 433 light years, not 33 trillion light years. Okay, but what difference does it make? Because it's all ridiculous anyway.
Yep.
People don't understand the distance, right? 433 light years. The closest star is 4 light years away. Okay, which is 25 trillion miles, right? And a trillion is a big number. 1 trillion. You know how big 1 trillion is? How long do you think 1 trillion seconds is? Just to show you how big a trillion is. Take a guess. If you can guess it within 3 hours, I'll give you a Bitcoin.
I have no clue, actually, to be honest. No clue. No,
okay.
I don't know.
31,000 years, okay?
Oh my
just
God.
Let that soak in. 31,000 years. So if you're traveling a trillion miles, mile per second for a trillion seconds, you went for 31,000 years, and now you got to do that. I can't forget it. It's stupid, right? And you wouldn't be able to see it. None of that's true. I want to just touch a few things. Georgia Guidestones, there was this hole. You look through it, and Polaris is right there, making its tiny little circle, staying in the hole. And this was up for over 40 years. Well, Polaris is supposed to be migrating at 1 degree per year, so it would have been over a half a degree out of that hole. Half a degree is 1.5 moon widths, right? So it would have been out of there. So we started making videos on it, and they started going viral. And all of a sudden, a terrorist blows up the Georgia Guidestones. And within hours, the bulldozers are there, take the entire thing, knock the entire thing down, take it away, steal the time capsule, and there's no investigation, right? That's what I call rock solid proof, right? Rock solid proof. The other thing is, when you talk about Polaris, now, why is Polaris important? Polaris is important because it's the only star that doesn't move in our sky. Now, heliocentrism, the globe religion, says, well, that's just because it's in line with the axis of our spin, right? If you pull the pole out of our axis, it would point towards Polaris, right? Polaris, we're spinning, and Polaris is there. Kind of makes sense. Forget the fact that we're traveling 186 million miles from each side of the sun every 6 months. It still points towards Polaris because it's so far away that 186 million miles doesn't matter. The fact that the Earth is moving 4.5 billion miles a year with the sun doesn't matter because Polaris is so far away that even after thousands of years, well, they say the wobble, they say that when the pyramids were built, the shaft pointed towards a different North Star. But now it points towards Polaris because we just happen to live in that time, right? Cool story, bro. But let's talk about the question is, if we look at here's our solar system, not to scale, right? And here's Earth, and let's just say Polaris is up there. Here's our axis. Now, do the other planets have the same axis? Are they all pointing towards Polaris? No, they're not. You with me?
Yes.
So they have their own north node, like Mercury would be here, and so this is Uranus, whatever, is points towards this way, right? So they all have their own. So Polaris is not an important star to the other planets, right? So here's the big question: why do all the other planets circle Polaris? I thought they circled the sun. All of the other planets make these beautiful sacred geometry shapes circling Polaris.
Oh, wow.
So 2,000 years ago, when we had the North Star Thuban, theoretically, did all the planets go around Thuban, or were they all going around Polaris? And we just happened to be pointing at Polaris. The reason your mind can't figure this out is because you weren't taught to think. You were taught to memorize and regurgitate. If they told you that all of the planets go around Polaris, then you would know that Polaris is super important.
Right.
All of the planets go around Polaris. There is no heliocentric excuse for that. There's not.
That's interesting.
All right. And with all of the motions of all of the stars, never have two stars changed positions due to parallax, right? When you're driving down the road, all the trees, they're all changing position, right? The close ones are going by fast, the far ones are going by slow, right? That's called parallax, right? Never once have two stars crossed each other's path in all of recorded history. They'd be crossing their paths every single day, every night. You go up and look and go, oh, those two stars are a little closer tonight. Those,
Right.
and they'd be changing, right?
Right.
Go out and take a picture of the sky tonight. Put a note in your calendar, note exactly where you had the camera, and then go out next year, same time, same night, take the picture, and then compare them, overlay them. Every star will be in the exact same position.
Right.
Right?
Wow.
That's an impossibility. Impossibility.
Wow. That's very interesting. I'm going to have to read more about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could go to the...
Go ahead. I'm looking at the chat. I just like King Tony said, this is crazy. You know what's crazy is the fact that you never looked into this. And by the way, I was you. We all were. This is all hidden from us. And if you try to Google it, they're going to feed you stuff. You're going to get, your brain's going to get tired. It's going to be nonsense. And you're going to give up. FlatEarthDave.com. Watch the crash course videos. Check out the app. And just be wary. As soon as you publish this, or by tomorrow, the trolls will be here. They'll say I'm a scammer. I'm just trying to sell a $3 app. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've been debunked. But go look at their channels. They have what I call the globe proof channels, because all of the globe proofs are on their channels. And what I mean by that, their channels are completely empty with no content. They're just bots and trolls, right? And they're too lazy to put anything on their channel. And the reason it's not that they're just too lazy. It's there is no globe proof. So they have nothing to put on their channel. They can only attack. They can't defend.
Right. Good point. That's a really good point. Okay, so some of the questions that I have starred from the chats. JG. Does flat earthers believe it's like a pancake? If so, what's below?
Yeah, so we don't believe it's a pancake, because when you Google flat Earth, the thing that comes up is the pancake, right? Is the the pancake floating in space like this, right? This is the number one picture that comes up, right? Nobody believes this, right? The only people that believe this, that people that are trying to debunk flat Earth that haven't looked into anything, they're just like, flat Earth, oh, there you go. And they go to the Flat Earth Society. That's the first thing that'll come up. And they'll say, oh, the Earth is rising as a disk rising in space, and that's what causes gravity. Nobody believes that. Just people that are uneducated believe that. We don't believe that. If you're listening earlier, we said that the Earth is just an extended plane. Here's a balloon at 127,000 feet. The Earth should be spinning 1,000 miles an hour below this balloon. It was up there for 3.5 hours. It landed east of where it took off. And remember, the Earth is spinning to the east at 1,000 miles an hour. It should have landed 3,000 miles out to the west, out in the ocean, but it didn't. Right? The Earth should have spun out from underneath it. Right? And why is this look like it's so close? Why is it lighting up this area more than this area? Because it's 93 million miles away. What's going on here? Right? So what's below the flat Earth? Well, the deepest hole ever dug is only 7.6 or 7.8 miles, right? So and so if you compare that to an apple, you drilled about a quarter of the way through the skin of the apple. And when they were drilling that hole, they had ground penetrating radar. They're like, okay, there's no more rocks. Oh, they hit more rocks. Okay, there's no more water. Oh, they hit water. Okay, no matter what, the thing was wrong every step of the way. Then they hit an impenetrable barrier, and they tried for years to get through it, and they couldn't. But then they know the next 4,000 miles, and they give you this meme. This is pseudoscience. Well, the Earth is a magnetic core, and it's got all these. Nobody knows what's below 7.8 miles. Nobody, globe or flat. So I look at it as the Earth is the foundation of the foundation of the universe.
Oh, wow.
We live in this electromagnetic creation that's absolutely amazing. And we live inside of a torus field, right? So let me show you how I see it. Right? I think, whoops, I want to show you. Take that off. It's where is it? Oh, here we go. A toroid. So we live in this energetic field, and we live on this dielectric plane here. And if all of these patterns up here, all of the wandering stars are in here, and they're circling around, making their motions in the skies, all their and it actually works when you look at it. But this is just a rough version of where we live. So what's beyond here? This could be it, or there could be more. As I was showing you before, the more land beyond Antarctica. But this one will blow your mind, right? And again, many flat earthers don't believe this. I'm not even sure I believe it. I just look at it as a possibility. So if I go here, let me just type in map real quick. So I showed you this, right? So we here this could be our pond, right? And there's another sun out here that circles around. But what if the world, a farther out view, was something like this? So we live here in the center of this pond. This is our pond, right? And these are other ponds. So remember, we're on that lake in Kansas. We get out of the lake. It's a smaller, it's 100 miles across, which represents this entire massive pond. And then you start walking away from the lake. A mile later, you can't even see the lake. You keep walking, and all of a sudden you get to another lake. That's a whole nother world, occupying a piece of the plane. What do you call a piece of the plane? A planet.
Oh.
And so this would be 178 other worlds across our plane. In the book section on the app, there in the More Land section, which is my favorite section, go to More Land. There's this book called The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Wall. It's amazing. What was it? Picture?
Wow.
Yeah, The Navigator Across the Ice Wall. It is an amazing book, and it's very cool. Whether it's true or not, I'll leave that up to you. But it's
wow,
interesting. Yeah.
So this is a good question. So why do we not get radio waves from the other side if there are maybe lands out there?
Because radio waves can only go so far. They go way beyond the physical curvature would allow. We have radio waves and microwaves that need line of sight that go 10,000 miles. There'd be mountains. There'd be miles high of curvature blocking it. But we can do this. So again, radio waves just don't go forever. They want you to believe that light travels for billions and billions of years and goes forever. How come you can't see the Eiffel Tower from New York is what they say. Well, we can't see through the air. Like if you're looking through a perfectly clear piece of glass, if you and I are standing looking at each other, there's a perfectly clean piece of glass between us, you probably wouldn't even see the glass unless it had some glare on it, right? Then if you stack 2 of them together, 3, 4, 5, 100 of them, we can't see through it anymore. The air is the same. Over distance, it becomes opaque. Everything compresses into the horizontal eye zone or the horizon. And then you think it's all at your eye level, but it's really very thick and high above your eye level.
Wow, yeah. Okay, last question. Do you think Elon Musk will go along with the hoax? Because that would really change the game.
Yeah, well, Elon I go back and forth whether he is a cooperating part of it or he's a mind-controlled puppet. Either one, it's really the same outcome. Elon Musk is, he's never put anyone on a rocket and shot them up into space. It's all fake. And there's a ton of videos on it. On the app, if you go to the More Resources button right here, the one that looks like a spider web, go to rocket launches, and you'll see how fake SpaceX is. Unfortunately, we all love SpaceX, and we love NASA. But once you understand that they're faking it all, it's absolutely ridiculous. Let me show you. This is Elon's rocket that's going to go to Mars. Right? He did a test. Now watch. Now I cut some sections out of this, but it's still in order. Okay, so edit. Actually, I think that way. I don't even think I cut this one out. Right. So this thing's going up. This little flame. There's no more smoke. Well, there's only smoke on the ground. Right. All this smoke is coming out of the ground. Where's the smoke? Right now, it kind of looks like the engine's fizzing out. Now, it's very high now, and now it's very. How are we filming it from the side here? It's high. And now it's falling. This thing weighs like 10 tons or more. This thing is gigantic, right? And it's falling. Look at the speed of the smoke. Now watch after the next edit. Look at the speed of the smoke. This thing is free falling. This thing is free falling. This thing weighs like, wow, look how high it is all of a sudden. Right? Now it's free falling. And now watch. 3 engines are going to turn on. It's magically going to stand upright. 2 of the engines are going to burn out. The cameraman's going to get right underneath it, and it's going to land upright. Watch. Ready? 3 engines are going to kick on, and somehow it's going to go upright. Right? 3 engines are going to, what? And now 2 of the engines are going to burn out. Watch. 1, 2. And now with 1 lopsided engine, it's going to land upright with a whole bunch of CGI smoke. Ready? Look how close. Look, smoke. And it's going to land upright. If you believe that, I can't help you.
So are you saying that is fake? Like even the rockets are?
Now, I was kidding you. That's a B movie. That's just a crappy movie from the Avengers, okay? Right? That's not really an Elon rocket. Or was it?
I think it was.
You think that was an Elon rocket? That means Elon's faking space.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I kind of thought Elon was one of the good guys. You know what I mean? Like sometimes
maybe he is. I don't think so. Right? Maybe he's trying to. Maybe he has a conscience. I don't think he does. Right? I think rocks have more consciousness than he does. All right? But on my website, flatearthdave.com, scroll down and you'll see a banner that's just all Elon Musk.
Yeah.
The 5-minute video. You'll find out what a fraud he is.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm with you. But however, listen, he's given us a lot of freedom on X compared to other places.
Right.
So, they got to give us something so we have something we can believe in, right? Because if they were, they have to give us faith in something. And, it's all fake and it's all satanic and it's ridiculous. When you start looking into it, we start looking into it. It's ridiculous. I mean, the SpaceX logo is the compass, is the Freemason compass, right?
Oh,
if you look at where is it? I mean, all of the stuff in the heliocentric model is all 666s. If you look at everything, I'm just
that's gonna break my head. That's gonna break my head.
This is the Space Force, right? Flip it upside down. It's Baphomet. It's even got the star. It's Baphomet.
Dang. Symbolism will be their downfall. I do believe that.
They always tell us it's right there for those with eyes to see.
Right. In plain sight.
God doesn't leave us here helpless. We have all of the power. It's whether we use it or not. So I think this is really an intelligence test that's going on right now, going on for a long time. And, maybe the elite like people like us that are actually thinking because they're tired of the useless eaters, because there are a lot of useless eaters.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for coming on. We are past our time, just a few minutes. So I want to thank you for coming on and sharing this with my community. It's a lot for us, we're.
Can we go just 2 minutes? I just saw someone's asking about the James Webb telescope.
Oh yes, this one.
Someone said James Webb telescope. Yeah, it's so fake. It's unbelievable. So here, I haven't pulled this up in a while. Is this a James Webb telescope picture? Is that a James Webb telescope picture? Because I honestly, I made one of those. The other ones are James Webb telescope pictures. I can't even remember which one it is because it looks exactly the same. I think this one is the one I made, which looks better than theirs, actually. Right? This is James Webb. That's James Webb. That's mine. I made that with Canva on my phone with the free version. I didn't even pay for it. Okay?
Yep.
Right? Let me just show you something else. Here's how I made it. Right? So this is just on my phone. Taking these images, bringing it, building it. This is what they're showing us. This is it.
Right.
Pretty damn good, right?
Yeah.
Compared to James Webb. That's all it is. There it is, right?
Oh, that's
And then
horrible, though. Yeah.
yeah. And then when you zoom in, you'll notice in space, maybe space travel is real, because if you look in here, if this is the right one, I think I am in space. Am I here? Oh, there I am. There I am right there. That's me. You see me? Didn't
Yeah.
even see it. There I am.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the final image right there. And you show this to a Glober, they'll be like, yeah, that's James Webb. Of course it is. Of course it is, right? You know, there was a people will believe anything. Did you ever see this picture that an astronomer released this, said that it was a distant sun? And it got published in like all the magazines. It was published everywhere. And then he admitted it's a picture of chorizo sausage. It's a piece of sausage. A pepperoni.
Oh my God.
Right? And they all had to retract, you know, they all had to retract it. Okay?
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
So okay, so then how do you like say what, like, how do you gauge on what to believe? Like if things can be fake or altered, or somebody could just do it on a Canva like you just showed, how do we know what's real and what's fake? Like that is difficult for us.
Is this real or fake? Is that James Webb or me?
I have
It
no
looks so
clue.
bad. It looks so bad. You might want to say James Webb, right? It's actually just a close up of a counter, of a marble counter. Okay? It's just a close up of a marble counter. People will believe anything.
They will.
It's amazing. Right? You know, James,
Right.
It's so ridiculous. And then if you watch the launch of the James Webb, it's horrible. We don't have time to go into it. Again, on my app, if you want to learn, it's all there. There's the rocket section. There's all sorts of stuff. There's literally a lifetime worth of knowledge on there. The app's $3. There is an $11 a year subscription if you want to join the social media part of it. Actually, the friend finder on it and the dating section on it is offline for a couple of months. Not a couple of months,
Okay.
a couple of weeks, because we're upgrading our servers and everything and making it even better. But check it out. It'll blow you away. It's mind blowing.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Awesome, David. Thank you.
Follow me on X, Flat Earth Dave X. I'm on all the other platforms. I'm on. I have several YouTube channels. I have a YouTube channel that has all short videos under 5 minutes called DITRH. It stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. But you don't have to remember any of that. Just go to flatearthdave.com and all the buttons are there. Flatearthdave.com. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good day. Watch
Have
out
a
for the
good
trolls.
night.
Don't let the trolls lead you. Think of the trolls like the people that dragged you into the religion that you were in before, right?
Yeah.
They want to
Good
control
point.
your mind. They're gonna try to drag you in.
Good point. Thank you so much, Dave, for coming on. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, man. All right, Ruby. Thanks.
Have a good night.
Good night. See ya.